Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. And welcome to Indiana for some reason. Today, we are discussing the latest episode of Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, Season 2, Episode 3. And joining me on this episode, they can bring me 100 trophies, but they'll never be daddy's favorite son. It's Ebuka and Christopher. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Bunky. How's it going? Nice to be here. Excited to talk about winning time. Season one came and stayed with us, but we didn't get to talk about it.
We didn't have
Happy
to
to
talk
cover
about it.
season two.
Chris, 2 weeks in a row. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
man. Good to be back. Another good episode. Setting things up nicely for the rest of the season. So yeah, it's great to be back.
Ibuka, it's your first podcast appearance since your legitimate win in the Nolan draft. How are you doing? How are you
Yes,
feeling?
I'm the current draft champion.
Ugh,
I was actually just thinking now Bankole can't exclude me from the next one due to champions' rights. So, you know, make sure I'm on the next one.
I had a so I don't know, please if you're listening and you haven't listened to our Christopher Nolan draft, please check that out on the feed. It was a very fun draft. Um, when I had A and TMT on, if anyone hasn't listened, we're discussing. I think that's when we're discussing Mission Impossible and Barbenheimer. At the beginning of that, I went on a rant where I think I insulted all our fans, all five of them. I call them dumb voters. But the voting machines were rigged. The polling wasn't good.
Yeah, we
Everything. So
colluded with Russians.
yeah. So but anyway, next time we live and we learn. I know we know how to draft next time. We don't go
You
for
guys have
momentum.
awoken a beast. Mikey. I'm scared. Actually, I don't even want to be on the next one. Don't worry.
We don't go for momentum. We just take Dark Knight, Heath Ledger, everything. We know who we're aiming for. Anyways, but yes. Speaking of Barbenheimer, but Mission Impossible, all those episodes are on the feed. Some is the cinema episodes are also on the feed, so please check all of that out. If you want to go all the way back to very stressful spring, we were covering Succession, Ted Lasso, Yellow Jackets, Mandalorian, Barry, all of those shows. So you can check those out if you want. But yeah, we're talking about Winning Time, episode 3. We spoke about episode 2 last week. We didn't speak about episode 1. So let me start because you weren't here last week. Why do you like Winning Time? Apart from
Apart from how much magic reminds me of one of my friends whose name rhymes with Lanky. Apart from that, right?
because you see, I held myself, but like, what was something? No,
Winning.
okay, but
Oh God.
why do you why do you like Winning Time? Obviously, I asked Christopher this question last week. Why do you like Winning Time? And then you can talk about your thoughts on all 3 episodes so far this season.
Okay, guys. Winning time is extremely, at least to me, extremely funny. Number one, and number two, there's a lot of interesting basketball history happening at the same time, and there's a story behind most of these things that are like one or two lines on Wikipedia, and you're actually like, oh rah, like this is way more interesting than I thought. And
Mhm.
of course, there's dramatization, but the dramatization adds to why the story is interesting. Like there's a story behind everything, and guys, the rivalry between the Celtics and the Lakers. It might be the only thing they cover in season two. Like my thoughts on the season so far is that they're just going to cover just that rivalry really strongly, and I think it's going to make it better than season one because it's really going to make you
Mm.
because suddenly I am more involved or more what's the word I'm looking for
Invested.
more invested in this rivalry than I've ever been in my whole life of like knowing that the Lakers and Celtics are historical rivals. Like I'm hating the Celtics GM for no reason other than he's extremely cocky. I'm
And then you
rooting
find
for
out
the
that he's like a
Lakers.
civil rights icon. Then it's like, oh fuck
Yes,
you.
exactly. So, guys, Winning Time is
Icon.
just very, very funny and very. There's multiple shows in it. There's the comedy, there's the drama, there's the scheming of Jerry Buss, and the failings of an ambitious man. So there's something for everyone in Winning Time.
There's also romance for those of you that like that.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
say for those of you like that.
Uh, guys who like romance again.
Why can't you
Let's go romance.
don't you like romance?
Uh, I'm just here to add more to the podcast.
Anyway, before we go further, Winning Time season 2 episode 2 titled The Second Coming. It's written by Max Borenstein, Rodney Barnes, and Rebecca Betu, and directed by Todd Benazel. Christopher, what are your thoughts on this episode following last week's?
Yeah,
Um,
just a quick. Ibuka, do you watch basketball as well, or are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just
I'm a casual basketball watcher.
it's probably
okay?
Uh,
I think you. I
well,
don't know. You're probably like me or just a bit better than me.
yeah, like
Probably
I'm
a bit
like
better.
slightly
Yeah,
slightly better than Banky. I'm
yeah,
what the kids like to call a bronze sexual. So
Oh
yeah.
my
Exactly. And I've never. I
yeah,
don't think I've ever watched a non-playoff game
Oh
in
my
my life.
god, man.
But I like.
like
I kind of follow it based on like
yeah.
headlines and stuff. But I've never watched a non-playoff
Yeah,
match in my
no, that's
life.
fair. That's fair. My thoughts on episode three. Another solid episode. Touched on a lot of things. Like it was kind of like the pacing was. I don't want to say it was intense because it wasn't like it was hard to follow, but we just say lots was happening at at the same time. And like I said earlier, I feel it sets everything up for the rest of the season. We getting to see more of Larry Bird is quite interesting because that's the thing. I didn't know how they were going to approach him in this series. Like, I didn't know if we're just going to be okay. This is like Magic's rival and everything, but they won't delve into his backstory because obviously it's about Lakers and Magic. So
Hmm.
yeah, one might think, yeah, we'll just see everything from like Magic's point of view with just a few glimpses into Bird. But yeah, I felt it was good in terms of it shed more light on his character and kind of, um, I guess it helps you kind of see the rivalry exactly for like what it is. Because even for example, before obviously watching Winning Time, when you hear like some of the old well, not old as per age, but like some of like sports journalists who are around that time and stuff talk about how it was so big because literally like first of all, this is America in the 80s. So yeah, we all know what that is, and it was
Hmm.
literally all the elements you can like. Obviously, race, culture, everything. Like it's literally black versus white. It's literally Lakers, like what that stands for. Showtime, Hollywood,
Hollywood versus
and
Boston.
like
Yeah.
even and obviously like that was now like epitomized in the two-star players. Magic known for like being a flashy player, flashy passes, like they're called the Showtime Lakers. Then you juxtapose that with the Celtics, where it's literally Larry Bird. Like even when Red went to go and talk to him to try and tell him that you have to come to the Celtics, and he said yeah, like Boston is like a town for working folks, like even though that has some weird some weird like implications. But yeah, so and obviously like, the Celtics were a majorly white team at that time. Even though of course like yeah they had brought in black players prior,
Hmm.
but like that iteration of Celtics with Bird, um, McHale as like the two-star players, and obviously you had like I said they did have black players, but like the star players or like the biggest names on the team they were white players. So
Hmm.
overall, yeah, just a very solid episode, and I'm looking forward to see like where that leads and episodes 4 and beyond.
Yeah. I should quickly mention that Todd Benazel, who I said directed this episode, was the lead. I think this is his director debut for this show at least. But he was the lead cinematographer for last season. So like the look of the show is mostly down to him. Um, okay, so I like personally. I don't know. I like the idea of a bird episode. I think it was executed well. I think I didn't love this episode, but I was thinking about that. I think I just missed the basketball. I was like, oh yeah, I actually just missed the basketball. But again, this is the third episode of a 7 episode season. It's kind of like the halfway point essentially. So it makes sense if like this is kind of setting stuff for what's gonna like this is not my favorite episode of the season, my favorite episode or whatever. So I liked it. I just did it. I wasn't really in love with it. But obviously, as we'll touch on, is a winning time episode. So even if I didn't love it, there's so much to talk about. But I think let's start with the Larry Bird stuff. I mean, Christopher, how much of this do you know?
I knew that he went to Indiana State. I did not know, however, that he had dropped out of Indiana first.
Hmm.
So I had to go and check that on Wikipedia. Apparently, it was, but that was when he was still coached by Bob Knight, who is like a notoriously hard coach. Like like swearing at players, very like that kind of coach and stuff. Guy. I mean, for those who are listening, you can go and look into Bob Knight and see yeah what he was doing for. But they said like on his page on Wikipedia, it said he left because like adapting to like the big like
City.
city was an adjustment. So, but
Yeah,
I
there
I
was
also
some stuff.
wonder if like part of it was Bob Knight. Like I don't know that, but yeah. So I knew, and also I didn't know about his dad as well actually.
Hmm.
So that was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Larry Bird. I knew he was a legend. I knew he played for the Boston Celtics. I knew none of this. Like none of this information was like all of this information was new to me. So yeah, it was definitely nice to know. Something I'm going to say about Larry Bird. I can't remember. Oh yes, no. So you mentioned Indiana State and Indiana. Last week we mentioned kind of the Americanisms that I would love to see in football. Just the ring is number one. Like let's find a way to get championship rings into football. But I
the
really like.
Champions League.
It's funny how you just mentioned Bob Knight, right? I don't know if he coached pro teams as well as college teams, but like it's so wild how you can be like a college basketball coach or even football coach or whatever in America and be like known like
Mm.
you're so big. Like I love the obviously look the NCAA all of that has its problems. Like there's not like let's not go into that. We all know those problems, but like I do love the way America kind of like pushes the college system as opposed to like here where it's like if you don't make it at 18 and you're like yours or 17 and you're sacked from your like youth academy, that might be it. That's done for you. But here, but in America, obviously, you get someone like Steph, you get to try to your 2021 or whatever. And then like they take college basketball so seriously that you can have a legend who spends the entire year just doing college. I mean, literally in this show wasn't Westhead. Westhead was college coach before he became the assistant last season.
Because assistants.
Um Ebuka, Larry Bird. I
Hmm.
know you did you feel connected to him as a working man yourself?
Oh my god, Larry Bird. That the first sign that that guy was a psychopath. In fact, when he turned into training or practice or whatever in jeans and
Jeans.
said he feels more comfortable playing this way, everyone should have been like they should have sent out alerts to the NBA that very moment that we have found the guy. This is the guy. But yeah, like Christopher said, the only thing I knew about Larry was what everyone knew, Celtics, legend, three
Mm,
MVPs in a row. The only thing in this story that I knew before this was that the Celtics they took a smart risk by trying to draft him 1 year early, and then he went back to college, and then they picked him up the next year when his draft rights would have expired. Something complicated about that. But
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
I really
Well, sorry
like.
to disturb.
Well,
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Can you explain that? Because I'm not sure I fully understood. Well, I tried to Wikipedia. I still think I fully
Yeah.
understood what happened there.
Um, from what I understand, basically back then you could draft the guy. Um, I think once they became, is it a junior? I can't remember. Yeah, you could draft people early just so you would have like their draft rights. But obviously, like the understanding was that they had to come and join your team
Mm,
like after a year. So basically, when Red came to talk to Larry, was like, yo, like we picked you, with the understanding that you are going to come. So from what I gather is like if Bird had passed, basically like that draft pick from Celtic could have all been for nothing, and he would have gone back into the pool. And I haven't checked, but I guess the Celtics didn't have a high pick
yeah.
again to take him, so. I guess that was also why that Red now played on like his ego and stuff. Like if you go back into the into the pool and it's like you versus Magic, like what are they gonna say after you guys just played and he kicked your ass? So
So it wasn't him versus Magic. Am I misremembering? So him and
mm,
Magic were not in the same draft class.
no, I think that, yeah, that's the thing. I think like they picked, like they came into the league together, but like
Mm.
Bird got picked like the previous year, so like there was never a choice of like, do I take Magic or do I
Oh,
take
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Says one was a while ago. Anyway, yeah. Ebuka, any final thoughts on the Larry Bird situation?
What was I saying about Bird? Yeah, like, and I really like that this episode focused on him because, like Chris was saying, like, you never know if they're just going to make him a boogeyman that just popped up now and then to haunt Magic. But
Mm.
I like that he has a backstory. It gives the rivalry more meat, and it's also a story that could also make you root for Bird in his own right. So I really enjoy that. Although he seems like a cold, emotionless
So that's what I
SOB.
was gonna say. So there's obviously we mentioned this last week in our disclaimer. There's been a lot of talk about characterization on this show, mostly with like Jerry
Jared.
West, Westhead, even Riley. Like they paint Bird to be a psychopath, and I feel like everything I've heard about him was that he was quite personable.
Really?
So, so maybe I've heard maybe I've heard
Yeah,
the
I was
wrong
gonna say
thing.
like from what I'm seeing, I don't think. this is too like ludicrous because from everything about Bird, like he was a crazy trash talker. Like even when he was playing
Yeah.
with those, it's like guys from work, and he was like, maybe you guys should practice and try and give me a challenge. And even when he went to Indiana State, I was like, when he kept on scoring, and then his coach was counting, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you said that there would be competition for me here." Like that he was like a well known trash talker. Like literally, one of like the most famous stories of like from Larry Bird's NBA career was I think when they were playing against the Hawks, and then Dominic Wilkins, who was like an all star in his own right, like Bird kept on cooking him, and like got to a point where like Dominic Wilkins, I think he swung on Larry Bird because like, and apparently the way he talked to you was like very subtle. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go here, pump fake you twice and shoot," and then he would do it like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back here, go once behind my back," like, and that was how you talk to people. So like, and it was always very subtle. Like, it wasn't anything like too crazy, but he just would actually do it, and like that was what he was known for. There's another incident of him like before the 3 points contest back
Mm.
then. Apparently, he went in there like a group full of black players as well. So it's a controversial story, but apparently he said, "Which one of you ends is going to come second?" And then he went out and won it. So I
Is
mean,
this
well,
like is
What
no,
this
like no,
wasn't
no, it's
there?
actually
What
it's actually
was it?
reported. Like
so it's
apparently,
confirmed?
What?
people have said it. Like I don't know if it's written anywhere like the story, but apparently like that's what he actually said. But
I feel like
what
there's another
I think
story where
I think the more common story is he said which one of you MFs is going to come second. But apparently what he actually said was actually worse than that. So yeah, but
I
that's
feel
what he
like
was
there's
known
another
for.
story I've heard where he, like, when he was playing, if they put a white player to guard him, he took it personal. He said, send. So now it's like, he was like, send a black man to me. I deserve more respect. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know,
can I
but
say
then I
something
think
though?
yeah, no.
Yeah,
Speaking on Larry Bird, right? If there's one thing that I want to be like a pro athlete for, even though it's for only 6 months, is that Magic gets the girls, some of them get the clothes, some of them have the money, but the ability to tell someone that I am better than you at this, and I will do what I
and
say
prove
to you,
it.
is just it's different.
Yeah. So maybe I heard the racialized versions in which they painted Larry Bird as the good kid and Magic as the
As the
black hooligan. Yeah. Because I mean I guess for me the psychopath part is even just like the fact of like which he probably did. I mean let's be honest, like keeping the scrapbooks of all that stuff of all the of Magic beating him and which is if I'm being honest, we know athletes, we watched the last dance. That's probably most likely what happened, especially in that time. It's a fun story about the actor that plays Larry Bird, that Sean Patrick Small, because I think years ago, I think early 2000s, he like optioned a book about Larry, and he was trying to develop something. Even when he was like much younger, because he kind of looks like Larry Bird, he wore Larry Bird's number. They used to call him Larry Bird as a child, on his basketball team, and then like I think he optioned the book just for years, like kind of getting to make this Larry Bird show or movie or whatever. Then he heard about Winning Time. Was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just like audition just to be in the room, just to kind of get some information regarding that. And then they had cast someone else. Wow, I can't believe his name. His name is leaving my head. Anyway, an actor I really like actually, so I'm quite annoyed that he's leaving my head. It's a pop up to the end of the episode, but they had cast him and then he dropped out, and then just because this guy had so much Larry Bird knowledge for like literally decades, he was able to put that into his audition and he got the part, which is just quite, yeah. So he spent like years working on a different Larry Bird story, and then he managed to just get this randomly. Um, should we move on? Bo Burnham, that's the guy I was thinking about for
Oh,
Larry Bird.
really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know how. I can't see it, but because I like Bo Burnham so much, I will be interested to see it. But like, I've never seen him do anything athletic, so that'll be quite interesting. But obviously, he has the look being
Yeah,
lanky and white. So,
that is
um,
interesting.
any final thoughts on Larry Bird before we move on? Obviously, so at this point, is 1-1. Is Larry and Celtics one title, Magic and Lakers and Jerry one title. So, and we're heading into the 1982 season. Um, I want to talk about Norma Magic, but before that, can we just spend a little bit just talking about the humanity of trades?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's crazy. Do you guys remember a tweet that was circulating around Twitter like a couple months ago where this like lady, she was like, how do footballers cope with transfers?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they miss their friends?
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, obviously everyone was now talking about it during that period. I'm like, imagine a basketball trade. I can
Yeah,
put it out
I
evil.
want to be like, you're talking about football transfers. Think about basketball or baseball trades. Like that's just the like. I think the first time I saw what a trade really was when I first watched Moneyball, because I don't think I knew it probably because I wasn't watching other sports at that point in time. I watched Moneyball and I was like, oh Jesus Christ! Like they have no say in them. At least football, you can be like, I'm just going to run down my contract. I'm not going anywhere. You
Yep.
can be an asshole. These guys have no say. This guy was literally like,
So
he has, was it twins or triplets and just bought a house? What?
Yeah.
to the
He's
point
so
where only
psychopathic.
the stars of the stars, like very few players, like the LeBrons, the Carmelos, have been able to put a no trade clause in their contracts. Like if you sign, that's why I say like yeah, obviously like you said, there's problems with how like sports are in America. The
Mm-hmm.
owners and GMs in general have almost too much power, too much
Mm-hmm.
acclaim. It's just yeah, it's
It's
evil.
trading is it's ridiculous, man. It's just like some guys just made a decision in the back room and just like, oh yeah,
But
you're out.
the funny thing is yeah, it's a slightly less humane version of transfers and everything else. But if you try and explain transfers and shit to aliens, it will still look crazy. Like, oh, so you guys have a history of buying people and selling people for work, but you guys just rebranded it into sports. Cool, cool. I hear that.
I mean, I guess the thing for transfers is that you can be the one to agitate it, like through
Yeah,
your agent or whatever. That can be the only like saving grace, quote unquote. But just like, I think Moneyball didn't they traded somebody like minutes before the match, before their game, and it was
but
like,
they've
yeah,
traded people during the games, and like
Jesus Christ.
people know about
Anyway,
the trade before you.
so I think they interviewed that guy, the real guy, Jones, and he said he just swore at Westhead. Like all that is like legit. It was just like he just ranted at Westhead. Okay, let's talk about Norman Magic. You talk about Magic's contract first, or talk about
Oh
the
wait,
the
are we also going
brunch?
to talk about Westhead at any point? Or
Yeah, we'll talk about Westhead.
okay.
You want to do Westhead now? Can do Westhead now
Oh
if you
yeah, I was
want.
just going to say since like the trade thing came up and it
Hmm.
was Westhead. Um, yeah, I don't think it's that obviously because of the way show is. I guess this is why people might complain about being characterized a certain way because
Yeah.
Westhead is coming across very bad. like this,
Oh, we said it
like
last week, didn't we? That like
yeah,
it's like,
like this week was even worse. It's literally
oh, it
just
was so
like
bad.
he's just I don't know. He's so insecure about himself. He's becoming like like is it a megalomaniac or something. It's just literally like the way he was talking to Riley, like you'll be my lieutenant, and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay as long as everyone knows that
Knows.
like, you're my lieutenant. Like it just seems so like the way it's going is like it's literally only going to end one way. Like you
Hmm.
can't push everyone away and try and surround yourself with yes men or people who like will just be willingly subservient. So it's literally he just looks so bad now. It's like at first I thought I was going to feel bad for him when eventually like they stuck a knife in his back, but now the way it's looking is like he's inviting them to stick the knife in his back.
Yeah, I didn't know how Riley became thingy. I just thought it was kind of like maybe Westhead had bad results and then it happened. So like obviously them painting it this way is quite interesting.
Yeah, from what I
Mhm.
knew prior is like the issue was that Magic, like the story I know is that Magic and Westhead didn't see eye to eye. So he basically went to Boss and asked him, like to get Westhead out of here. And then obviously,
So
the
basically like
natural
Chelsea players.
as in with who?
Yeah,
Lamps? Or with
Well, not even Lamb. No, the
since
Hazard Conte
2004.
time. Yeah, since 2004,
I
the
don't
entire Roman
remember what
reign.
happened with Conte. But yeah, so that's what I knew. But now, like I said, it's looking more like no one liked Westhead.
Mm.
Like, yeah,
And
but
they all liked
oh yeah, yeah, Riley.
Riley,
So,
including
but
like staff. It seemed.
exactly. So, but then, like I said, the story I knew was that Magic just didn't see eye to eye with him.
Mm. In my research, they found out they said that like yeah that there is no like documentation of Riley and Westhead having that kind of like conversation, but it was clear. I think even from Westhead's biography that these guys were not saying eye to eye. That Westhead felt like Riley was kind of becoming too big for
Mm,
his position. But then Riley also felt like Westhead was being quite insecure and to like using his ego as evidence in that Thompson trade from last week.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just
Speaking
interesting to yeah.
speaking of Westhead and characterization, though, like it's just a poison chalice. Like being the coach of a team like the Lakers and coming through the routes Westhead came through. Like there's no way he was ever not going to end up this way. Like you could be the most secure person in the world, and you have a star player that everyone basically sees as family
Mhm.
to the
Mm.
owner, and you have an assistant who is obviously really talented, and you people have been questioning your credentials since like last year. So it was just always going to be on edge, be paranoid, be scared that something's going to happen. So I don't know. Like
Well, I
I
mean, I guess
almost don't blame him.
the alternative is what the alternative is that you'd say, okay, I'm just gonna like this is how it's gonna be. I'm gonna like I'm not the main guy in this team. I have to accept that. I just have to do my job and
Fair,
get the rings
fair,
and like live off my rings. But he wanted to
fair.
make the team his own.
Yeah,
I
and
think
like you
no
remembered.
one, yeah, no one should quote me. Please do your research. But I think that he actually introduced the system in real life a lot earlier than the show shows it.
Okay.
So like he tried to introduce it before Magic even got injured,
Yeah, yeah,
which
okay.
makes sense because he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to create his own team. He's like,
His own thing.
oh, it's kind of like how do I put it? If Pep gets injured now and his assistant wins, they're like, okay, next season, no more like whatever Pep is playing, inverted
Inverted
fullback.
fullbacks,
We're
yeah.
doing our own thing, right? And nobody, everyone's like, why? Why are we changing? Like, what were you doing already? And he's like, no, I want to make this team my own. I want to put my own stamp.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's funny watching it, knowing that Riley is going to become the guy. And like, you're just like, why are you alienating everybody? Why are you becoming so insecure? Like, why are you attacking Jerry West so much? And apparently, so I can't remember the name of the guy that they wanted to draft it. I won't like say some sort that happens, but he ends up becoming like a GM. He ends up becoming like the Lakers
Oh
GM. He
yeah,
becomes
Mitch Kopchak, man.
Yeah.
yeah, Jerry West assistant for a while. I didn't that's a name I did not know until I watched this episode. So like
Same.
that's kind of NBA knowledge I have. Okay, let's go
One
to
last
Magic
thing.
then. Yeah, okay.
Just one last thing
No,
on
no, no.
Westhead, right? Who's everyone's favorite member of the non-playing staff?
Ah.
There are two
Um.
people, and I think I know
Okay.
I feel like you're one of the two. Obviously, I love every
Okay.
time that Jerry West opens his mouth because he's gonna be
Okay.
angry for no reason.
Can I say
But
something? I have
yeah,
something in my notes. I never understood when women said they like seeing their men angry until I met Jason Clark as Jerry West. Like every time someone pisses him off, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Oh my god. Please.
I
I've
wonder
never
like
seen someone with such latent anger in them.
I wonder Jason Clark's like vocal warm up for playing this character because he's always shouting. Like, how does he not lose his voice? He's always shouting.
That is what losing
He's
7 NBA finals does to a
fair
motherfucker.
enough. You know,
Oh
fair enough. Like,
god.
I find it more realistic to believe that this is actually how Jerry West was in
Yes.
real life than like what everybody says he was, which is obviously a calm and good guy. Because it's like,
Yeah, I think I don't know. From like that's the thing. Like before this show, like what people said about him was that he obviously like he was a good person and all that, but like he obviously was frustrated with the way his career had panned out. Like
mm,
losing those finals. So like he was kind of like a tortured genius. That was kind of what I think I'd heard you used to describe him like that. It weighed on him. But like seeing this version of like or this portrayal is kind of like literally like you said, always upset, like always like he
it
obviously
makes
because
sense.
yeah, like he's a very good GM. Like even his track record, like everywhere he's
Mm.
been, like he played a
Doesn't he win
role.
Executive of the Year several times or something?
Yeah, he played a role like even like with the Warriors. He was like an advisor to the Warriors for a while. I
Mm.
think he was advisor with the Suns when they were good. If I'm right,
Wait, this
correctly.
Warriors, like this
Yeah,
Steph
yeah,
Warriors? Oh wow.
at the beginning, like he was there. Like even I think he even spoke to KD when KD joined them. I think he was one of the people who like spoke to KD like prior to
Oh,
him
this.
going. Like yeah, so yeah, he's a very good GM and everything. So sorry, like he's a very good executive rather.
Hmm.
So like I don't know, this characterization is just like don't you have to be like a really good people
Maybe it's
person?
like it's what he was inside. Do you know?
Yeah,
I
like
think of
I
him
mean,
as
yeah,
I think
maybe
of
it's
this
like
character as kind of like two things: as like a Bugs Bunny villain or Joe Pesci's character in Home Alone. And like he's so you know how Joe Pesci was. It felt like he was trying not to swear. Like
Yeah.
he was so angry, he was trying not to swear in Home Alone. Like this guy is just like it's just when like Bugs Bunny would throw an anvil on the guy and he just bursts. He's just like
Explodes.
that explodes. Yeah, that's just he's just always ready to just go. And he can't even articulate his anger. But back to your original question, the other person for me is Chick Hearn. Just like, why are you here?
and thank you. I was going to say like how last week I was like the guy being on the plane with them like that's normal, but like how
Yeah.
engaged, how like they're talking about trades and you don't see Chicker there. Like,
Like when I saw him, I was like, why are you here? It's so random.
Yeah, man,
Oh
Oh
god.
trickery.
my god! Imagine if like the Arsenal media commentator was just there when they talking with Edu and Ateta talking about transfer. Like, what's going on here? Anyway, okay. Yeah. So let's talk about normal Magic. Christopher, do you want to start with the Magic contract or the brunch?
I guess we just go like in order. I guess like the Magic contracts.
Okay, we'll start
It's,
with contract. Yeah,
yeah.
25M
Um.
for 25 years.
Yeah, things that I'd also seen that before, and at the time, it just never made. As even now, it kind of still doesn't make sense to me. Like, obviously, I get why he did it, but at the same time, it's like I don't know, signing that amount of like that kind of contract for anything just seems crazy to me. Like anything can happen. Um,
Yeah, we're literally watching the Chelsea Revolution. What are you talking about?
yeah, no, that
We're
yeah, but
literally
that's what
watching
I'm
them
saying.
have
Like,
10-year
yeah,
contracts in football.
yeah, and even the Chelsea contract to me is also madness.
It
Like,
is madness, but it's happening.
yeah, it's happening, but like I can never, I don't
Also,
know. And
think about the value of money. Let me even Google right now what 25 million in
okay, yeah,
1980
maybe that might
is
help me
now.
because I'm like, bro, because NBA contracts are only going up. So it's like I'm not sure there would be a certain threshold where Magic was probably like underpaid, but
Oh
then
no,
obviously
okay,
he
so
had like yeah, but he had like
yeah,
long term security, I
no,
guess.
so in
So
my research, in the fact
Oh,
checking research,
almost
what?
25 mil in
Yeah,
1980 is
yeah,
92 mil
yeah,
today.
no, no,
yeah, that's
Jesus.
Yeah.
still underpaid though for 25
Yeah.
years.
Guys,
Yeah,
I
It's
for
think
the,
we
so,
need
so
to I need to I think we need to stop watching sports because if someone gave me 20 mil today, I think I'll sign like the remaining 70 years of my
yeah,
life.
people are like, oh, why would somebody go to Chelsea to be third string? I'm like, he's getting 80K a week for 10 years guaranteed. What are you talking about? Like, of course I'm going to sign that. If it means I watch it, I have the best seat in the house in
Because
Stamford Bridge. I'm
yeah,
literally watching it from the start.
I had that exact same reaction when the guy was like 25 mil for 25 years. I was like, just that? Damn, smells broken here. And there's me like trying to struggle 100 pounds to get up
No,
for the
but like,
weekend.
but Magic said it now. Nobody's going to pay 25 years, right? As in, like, so.
Yeah.
But okay, so back to what I was saying in fact checking research, it was like, yeah, this is what actually happened because I'd heard vagaries of that, but I didn't really like investigated it. And I was like, this is actually what happened. This is what he offered him. But Jerry Boss kind of knew what was coming. He knew the free agency was coming,
yeah,
and he knew that
exactly.
like
Like
he knew that very soon that number would not. So it made sense, a lot of sense from Jerry Boss's side,
yeah, of
right?
course,
But he knew that number would not make like that number would be nothing. And apparently, in a few years' time, Magic kind of he realizes like I'm getting underpaid, so
exactly.
he goes
Like
to renegotiate. I don't know the result. I didn't want to find
oh,
out.
okay,
I don't know the result of
okay, first,
renegotiation.
first.
But he actually went to renegotiate because like in like 3 years' time, he was like, I so basically it's like what I'm the best in the league and I'm earning 1 million a year.
Yeah.
That's like
And guys, isn't it funny how like sometimes things happen in life that are like a perfect storm? And this is a really good thing the show did, by the way, is that you see Magic ask, was it Norm about his contract extension
it was
that
cool.
went
It
from
was
like
cool.
Yeah, cool,
yeah,
yeah,
cook
cool.
from like 25 to 350K. And at
Hmm.
that point, Magic asked and found out that he got like a 10 times increase on his salary. And Magic was insecure about his injury. He wasn't even thinking Jerry is like thinking ahead of the free
I
agency
think it was
thing.
the
Magic was
injury
just
and like the air ball.
exactly.
Yeah,
Magic was
Those
just
two things.
insecure about his own standing, not
Hmm.
knowing that Jerry had like a scheme and a plan to lock them all down. So yeah, if not for those things, who knows, man?
And it's funny
Who
because if
knows?
that news comes out, right, people are cooking Jerry Boss for like 2 years.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
people are like, "What are you doing? This is so stupid." Until like, and like he could probably lose his job. So many things could happen if that news. But he knows, like it's weird. Like you can see the vision. Nobody else wants to see the vision. And like imagine like Twitter is cooking you. Shannon Sharp is cooking you.
Todd
Stephen A.
Bowley,
Smith is cooking you. Like what's this guy doing? Maybe Todd Boehly has actually. Oh shit!
guy, please, man. I hope not.
Have I just talked myself into believing that Todd Boehly is a visionary and he's seeing what we
Please.
cannot see?
man, bully billions, man.
In like 2 years time, we're going to be
I
like,
believe in the football gods. You can't outsmart them.
count, but I mean, they would have said that
I
about
mean,
the
but is he
past
trying
football
to
gods.
outsmart them? It's not as if he's buying bombs; he's buying good players. Like that's the only thing about the whole Chelsea thing. People are wishing on their downfall, but I'm like, this guy is not signing people that are not good players.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So my
Man,
thing,
let's
I,
not
I
talk
said it,
about Chelsea,
Ebuka, I
man.
said it to you guys now. Like my thing about this Chelsea thing is that my fear is always that like in the end, money finds a way. Money finds a solution. Like if
Yeah,
you throw enough money at a problem, you would fix it. It might take longer
yeah.
than, but you will fix the problem. And like you're right. Like yeah, he's buying. You think about Marco Marine, right? He comes into Chelsea that summer, but that same summer I think they get Hazard. So everybody forgets
Yes,
Malcolm Marine, even though we all I think it was that same summer. Yeah.
I think, or it was 1 year
Yeah.
between
But
them. I
anyway,
think.
he
So,
basically is overshadowed. So some of those guys in this Chelsea team will be Malcolm Marines. But a lot to be hazards. Like so it's just like
please, man,
And
I have
anyway.
enough
But
existential dread over Pep and Man City. I don't need to add Chelsea to that.
okay, so let's talk about the brunch. So I was gonna save this for the fact checking corner, but I might as well say it now. In fact checking, this brunch happened, but it happened in Vegas. So like
mm,
what's his name? Jerry Boss flies them over to Vegas and then they have the brunch. I have thoughts about this scene, but let me start with you. What are your thoughts on this scene? What are your thoughts on the whole Norm Nixon thing?
My only thought on this thing is I felt like we were transported to another movie or another show entirely because they basically held like Magic and what's his name, Jerry Boss,
Boss.
basically intimidated Norm in a way that is more appropriate in a show like The Sopranos or The Wire, as opposed to the winning time we've been watching for 2 seasons. They didn't trash talk him. They didn't do any of the flashy ha 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 we've been seeing. They were just
Yeah.
like, come on now, you can talk to us. Like tell us what's the real issue here. Do you want to be here?
It's
It's
like I can
completely
trade you to
fine.
any team, but it's just because you're so good. It's kind of like I can trade you, but just remember that you're so good. That's why you can go to any team. Just like, oh, okay, thank you.
Exactly.
Please
It's
go on.
it's it's even Succession esque because they're like, I like you, but these are my options. I could do this to you, but just because I like you so much, you're my guy. I
Mhm.
won't do that. So are you going to behave, or are you going to like make me explore my options?
Are
Nah.
you going to
And
behave?
Norm did some incredible acting in that scene.
Oh,
By the
I
way, the
have
guy was
thoughts
yeah,
on
like,
them. I have
yeah,
thoughts
"Oh,
on
that's
I
them.
I,
amazing.
I am fucked."
Like I love Los Angeles. Chris, do you have thoughts on this scene?
Yeah, it was just in a way it ties into what we spoke about last week in terms of, and I guess maybe you can say this is what Westhead was scared of, like because Magic, he's at
Mm-hmm,
the end of the day, no matter, and I guess his privilege of being a star, because no player should have all that power. Like, 'cause literally, like no one walked in probably thinking, okay,
not in your second year. You can't have this
like
power in your second year.
let
It doesn't
me
make sense.
yeah, like let me talk, with Jerry Boss. We can hash things out. And they're like, oh, by the way, Irvin's here, and it's like, what? Like, so you get there, and then they're saying all these things, and it's like, you know, it's kind of thing like, yeah, anything you say kind of will be used against you. He just had to be like, okay, yeah, man, do I say what I really feel, and then
There
tomorrow
is no
morning
war in Basing
I
say.
like, exactly, like, do I say what I feel, and then tomorrow morning I hear I'm being traded to like Utah. I don't know if that was the franchise then, but like, yeah, like
Hmm.
or do I just toe the party line and go along for like the great ride? But like now he knows, like, for a fact, moving forward, no matter what I think, this is
Mhm.
Magic. It's like Magic and Jerry. Like, if it's ever going to be me versus Magic, just know that at the back, Magic has Jerry behind him. So it's kind of,
Yeah. Like, how do
yeah, I
you
don't know,
say
man.
how Jerry Buss like say whatever you want to say, but how do you say whatever you want to say when the person you're going to say it against like was at the meeting before you?
Is
Like,
on
he
the
basically
tribunal.
organized the meeting. Like, what you can't say what you want to say. It's like so. I love this scene because for many reasons. One, I don't think there's been a scene in Winning Time, what we on now, 13 episodes, where I have not liked Magic Johnson until this scene, where I was like,
Fair.
I feel like you're the villain of this
Yes.
piece right
Yeah.
now. I think, like I said last week, I really like Devon Nixon so far this season. Like, it's just weird. Every time I think about his playing his father, that's just so wild to me. Um, I thought the performance was quite fun. Episodes 1, 2, 2, you got quite more to do because of the whole trade and everything and crashing out. And but then that scene, because that scene starts off with Jerry getting Norm right from the car. It starts with him. It doesn't like the scene could start with Magic and then they'll be like, "Oh, Norm is here," and then we kind of feel that there's some connivance or whatever. But the scene starts with Norm, so we're on a high with Norm. We're like, "Oh yeah, Norm, you get to talk to Jerry Boss. Like, you get to have your own one-on-one. Maybe you get your own 25M for 25 years, whatever." Like, and then it comes crashing down, and so our expectations crash the same way Norm crashes down, and from that moment on, like we're following Norm, we're in Norm's POV in that scene. So like we're seeing Magic the way he's seeing Magic. Is like, and
Yeah.
then he like we said he can't talk. Like we can see that he wants to talk, but he's like I'm good. I love Los Angeles. It's just I don't know. I think the structure of that scene is so good. I think Devon's performance is so good. I think but obviously Justin Riley is great in every scene, but like he's like you're right. He's doing the Sopranos whatever things. Like he's saying the nice things, but like it doesn't sound nice coming from his mouth. Magic is like walking around in a very cockish
Yep.
way. He's like they're shooting him where you can see that he's actually blocking Norm's view of Jerry Boss. And you're just like, you fucker, like can you just sit down? Can you just like Magic, can you just sit down?
You're
Can
doing too
Norm just
much.
think? It's just like, I really love that scene. I was watching, I was like, I think this is such a great scene. I think Devon Nixon is doing such a great job in this scene. Like the emotions you go through in that scene, you're like, oh, I like they did it so well to put us in Norm Nixon's point of view in that scene. I just thought because like you could be Magic's point of view, like, oh, why is this guy making trouble? Like we won, like we can
Yeah.
win if they shot it differently. But why in Norm's point of view, I just like, yeah, like you say, I need to toe the party line because there's no way this works out for me. It's so interesting. I think that's the best scene of the episode, maybe of the season so far. I really, really like that scene. I like the performances in that scene. And then um, I have a bit of that in the fact checking corner. But we can go there when we finish. But I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of family dynamics still going on, which I've been referenced in the intro about you won't be dad's favorite son. And so if you listen to when TMT and AO what we're talking about, I think we were recommending shows that episode. Um, I've been accused of talking about a particular show too much, so I'm not gonna reference the show that I've seen quite clearly reminds me of. Because I already mentioned it earlier this episode, but like, yeah, children fighting for their father's love through business. I wonder what show that's about. But yeah, like you feel like there are 4 episodes left in the season, so you feel like there's some family business dynamics coming up rest of the season. Like, they're just kind of setting up the steps. Even Honey, like Christopher wanted to touch on last week, like you feel I think she's a composite character.
Well,
Jerry Boss,
like
man.
I said, there's something for
The,
everyone, and I mentioned
Jerry
romance.
Boss.
Like,
The I think we really all live the same life in it. Let me just say it like that.
ah,
Explain. So
as in,
No, no,
please,
no.
please
No.
explain.
explain what you mean. I don't live that life. I want to know what you mean. Our fans, our listeners want to know. Our watchers on YouTube want to know what you mean. Like, what do you mean?
They can find out on the next episode.
Okay.
We're running out of time. I will describe it.
um, money makes everything easier. This guy just means gonna buy all the flowers in California, quote unquote. Like just like money just makes everything just life easier. When they knew each other before when he was poor, what would they have done? He'd have bought one rose. Life. Life.
Love is
No,
sweet.
but yeah, I think Honey is a composite character of like probably different women from Boss's life. I don't know if she was a particular person. That's what I think. I'll confirm by the next episode.
That
But
makes
yeah, I don't
sense.
know.
But
Anything you guys want to touch on?
well, yeah, I was going to say it's going to be interesting to actually see, because that's another thing as well. I've heard Magic talk about he and his wife cook. Like, we know like they end up getting married and
Yeah.
everything. So like seeing all the on and off again. I'm not going to move to LA. I can't be in
Yeah, do
LA.
you care about that plot line?
Yes,
Can I say
I do.
something?
Like, what do you care?
Can I
Like,
say
that's who
something?
we ended
I
up
care
marrying. I don't
greatly because have you seen Cookie? Number one. Number two, right? I literally have a note in my notes, and one of my lines is "Cookie man, cookie, poor
know.
cookie."
Yeah, so
Because if Magic does not fix up by season 3, oh god,
But we know, like
oh,
we know
yeah,
how
that's
it
what I'm saying.
ends.
Yeah, we know how it ends, but like
So I don't
seeing
know.
all of this happen, like, or even because I'm also thinking about it. I mean, some may say, but definitely not me. Like fear women, because the way it's even going, the fact that she has a man, Amadik knows she has a man, and see how
Bro,
Amadik
she's
just
having this
talks
late
about
night calls talking
exactly like
about
exactly, and he's like,
future love.
um, y'all go and do your own thing, and he's trying to insist that at the end of the day, I know that you're going to come back to me, and it's like, bro, you
and
should
she
have a man,
really
and you have a man, and like
and she
you
really
know
does.
exactly. So that it's
I
just
mean,
going to
I,
be
I
interesting
I
to
don't
see
know. I
what
guess
happens.
if it was fictionalized or we didn't know, like then maybe I'll be more invested. Like, oh, does she go? But I don't know. Maybe because I know she. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think I'm as invested as I should be in that
It
plot
sounds
line.
like you're
That means you don't
anti-romantic.
like
Maybe
gossip, Banky.
why?
Because
I don't
if
like
you
gossip,
like
but why does that?
yeah, because if you like gossip, you want to know the gist, everything that he did to her, and everything that they went through when they ended up together.
Well, okay, but like I don't know if anything can, because it's Magic Johnson, right? We know the escapades he went on. Like this is not nothing here is salacious. Like he said
Mm,
them in interviews himself. So I think knowing all of that already in real life, I know that he's turning it back together. Well, I think for me, the surprise, actually, let me be honest, in season one, I did not know that him and Cookie were a thing before.
yeah.
So like, I thought he had met her like just in life. I didn't know they were a thing before he was Magic. So I was like, wait, you're telling me they were a thing? And then all of that happened. And then like they became married. I was like, so anyway, I'm not like I don't hate the plot line, but I'm not as invested, if that makes sense. It's probably like bottom. Not bottom, but like
Hmm.
quite low. Maybe the honey one is actually bottom. Wow. Christian, maybe you're like maybe I don't like romance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a good plot
So
line.
wait,
Like,
you watch the Jerry honey plot and you're like, oh wow, this is so great. It's fine.
I said Magic and Cookie. Like Jerry and Donnie, I don't. So far, I have not been moved. But like I said, Magic
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
Cookie
saying. So that's
because
bottom, and then just
she
above it is Magic and Cookie.
she seems so like hell bent on all the things that you stand for. I'm not a fan. Like Ellie, I'm not a fan. And she said it like you're always chasing women. Like so, it's like why would you now willingly dive into that? Even it's like well, I guess it's just one of those things when you know that something isn't good for you in quotes, but you still go ahead. So let's
I
just see
think
what
that's the
happens.
curse of a man, you know. Like she's telling you all the things she hates and it's all the things you love, and you're thinking, oh, I can convince her not to hate her. It's me.
Shouldn't he be why is that the curse of the man? It's not the curse of the woman. Like shouldn't he be like, let me change?
Let's
Shouldn't he
just
be
see
like,
what
let me
happens.
change?
To be
Yeah.
honest, let's just see. I guess maybe his quote unquote compromises. He just tries to do them out of sight. That way, maybe she will not be as aware because
I
that's the
mean,
only
we'll
thing that
see.
makes sense
I
to
don't know
me.
if I mean what we're talking about. We'll find out as the episodes go on. Okay, fact checking
Yeah.
corner.
Wait, are we doing fact before we do fact checking corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something I want us to start doing, and I noticed it
Mm-hmm.
like a couple minutes into episode one. I want
Mm-hmm.
us to start placing ourselves in the winning time episodes. And I'm just going to place myself in episode one because I wasn't on any of the thing. But
Okay.
actual name of the bus company had me laughing out
Oh,
loud. I
white.
can't cry. The white bus.
Oh,
Actual name of the bus company. I love when they do that. But I'm also just going to like speed read a couple of my notes that we touched on most of them, but just one or two, right? The first one is I love how Winning Time wastes no time in season two and gets it into what the show is really about. First scene, the beef between the Celtics and Lakers. Second
mm.
scene, Magic Johnson shagging. Like no no skips from,
I
from
think that's the
basketball.
order. That's the order of
Yeah.
on their whiteboard in the
Yep.
writers' room. So
It's
that is what the
it's
show is about.
basketball, magic, sex life. That's just it.
Like
Then literally my second note after that is like magic's horniness is crazy, all caps. And then next after that is Kareem's wife being white is crazy. Also, I'm sorry. There's no
you
way
know she was in
it's not
season
crazy.
one, right?
Yes, but I'm so sorry. Like, see there again reminded me. Like, tell me you don't think it's crazy.
I he found someone that loved him.
No, it's not even that, but like how Kareem is.
I know what I'm saying. She still loved him for him, and he loved her as well. Continue.
Fair. Fair. No, I'm done. I just wanted to say those two things. The
You
other
just
ones
wanted
we've
to.
touched on. I just don't.
You think he should be with? To be fair, you always go around saying like Nubian queen. That's you.
No, oh my god. No, see
Like
the things like I
you
don't.
leave before you leave your house. You salute a picture of Dr. Omar. So it makes sense. Like these are your thoughts.
I
Oh
have
boy.
no
You believe we
opinions on
should
who
all
he
go
should be
back
with.
to
I just think him being the way he is and marrying
no
a
no no.
white
Okay,
woman makes
no okay. If I'm
sense.
being honest, yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Like he's like the I think he met her probably met her after he became Karim, didn't he? Like it's an
Interesting.
interesting thing, but I guess it shows a bit of like nuance. Like he didn't go full
Yeah,
Dr. Omar.
Hotep, which
Yeah,
is
Dr.
good.
Hotep. Yeah, he just he has the ideas, but not necessarily like he's not like a strict or what they call it practitioner.
Fundamentalist.
I'm joking obviously,
It's a
but I
practitioner.
agree with what you're saying. Um, okay, let me quickly. There's like a whole quote from Magic's memoir about that whole brunch. I don't know if there's a point of going through all of it. But apparently, like so what Magic says to him is like, "Hey Norm, would you stop eating all my fruit?" So which is obviously and he says everybody laughed. I'm sure no one was so happy about the situation. Okay. Any final thoughts? Probably. I mean, everything. Like I think we've kind of littered the fact checking throughout the episode. Obviously, the episode fact checks one of the wildest things, which is that you actually played in jeans. The episode told us that was true from the jump. Um. Okay. Any final thoughts you guys want to share before we move on? Before we
I'm
close it?
excited for this season, man. I think it might be better than season one. I have that feeling after 3 episodes. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
see.
still quite afraid because there are only 4 episodes left. Like I'm just like,
Yeah, I actually wish it was longer already.
yeah, I wish it was a
Like we
full
haven't
10.
even.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, apparently like the Larry Bird, all the dad stuff was true as well. Oh shit. I forgot to put this in my fact checking. Yeah. So apparently Jerry does trade Johnny's girlfriend, which is wild. It's so wild, man.
What's her
And
name
then in
again?
Jeannie's memoir, she kind of really puts it on Jerry. She's like, Diane, who is like the girl, just 19 at the time, was a member of the Strings in those days and dating my brother Johnny. That didn't save her, however, from being traded when my dad had an opportunity to get Chris Evert. He sent in Diane to the Indiana Loves. So like she pointed that
Oh, so
it was Jerry that did it.
it wasn't Martina that he traded for.
No, so he trades for Chris Evert and then Jeannie uses it to get Martina. So I guess the show kind of like compressed it because she got Martina
Yeah.
after the trade and then she got her first championship when she was 19. Wow.
Wait, like
Um
Genie got championship?
yeah. For because that was
Okay.
her team now.
Yeah. Okay.
Um yeah, I don't know. Ebuka, you guys know because I was just thinking you guys know who plays Red, right?
No,
Red
you know I don't know
Auerbach.
these
Yeah, I
things.
do.
Yeah, that's
Michael,
Christopher's
is it?
boy
Yeah, like he was in the Shield, man.
from the Shield.
I'll
Yeah, is Michael
I'll say
Chiklis,
it again.
who I
One of the
always
best
know
shows.
as what they call it, Ben Grimm. He's my Ben Grimm. So
Oh,
Oh crap!
that's
Jesus.
how I always see him, Ben Grimm from Fantastic Four. But yeah, he looks so different
Oh
as
crap!
Red.
That is him.
Hmm.
Yeah, he does look different.
yeah.
It's the hair. Okay, I think that's a good place to end it. We'll be back next week talking about episode 4. Um,
Inshallah.
hopefully some more basketball. I miss the basketball scene. It's quite fun.
Basketball's
Uh,
coming up, man. We have the 82, 3, 4, and 5 seasons
Yeah, it
and
has to be like,
six.
yeah. Because what the song was 84, was 85.
What?
The
What do you mean?
Boston, what we started the season with
that was 84, I think.
was 84.
Oh, when they won at Boston. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah,
84. I
84. So we
think.
need to get there before the end of the season. What were you talking about when you said 82, 4, 5, 6?
Well, I just meant like that's the span where the rivalry was at its
Oh
most
yeah. So
and
like
they
I
were
mean yeah. So
trading.
more thinking more basketball this season. But I think for now that's us done. We'll be back next week talking about episode 4. Um, any final thoughts, guys? Okay.
Over
Well,
and out.
yeah. So please share this podcast with anyone you know that watches the show. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, please obviously like and subscribe and follow and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be back next week when we'll be talking about more basketball, more winning time with the great Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Chris, you
I know
never
we
say bye.
stopping.
Oh. Bye, guys.